Hello, and welcome to our presentation on mutual funds in the Cayman Islands. In this video, we provide a summary of mutual funds in the Cayman Islands and their registration requirements. If you would like further specific advice or to receive a more detailed guidance note on mutual funds, reach out to us at stewartslaw.com and we will be happy to help.
The Cayman Islands have become the leading offshore jurisdiction for the establishment of mutual funds and private funds. The phenomenal growth of the funds industry in the Cayman Islands has been due in part to the use of innovative legislation and the absence of taxation and exchange controls. This, together with the presence of sophisticated and professional service providers, has resulted in the jurisdiction's reputation for responsible supervision and regulation of funds.
Let's start by asking the Stewarts team some questions. Chris Humphreys is the Managing Director of Stewarts and is the head of the funds team. He has over 20 years' experience in establishing funds in the Cayman Islands and has set up close to 1,000 funds throughout his career. Chris is recognized by leading global directories such as Chambers & Partners, IFLR, and Legal 500 as being both a highly regarded lawyer and a leading individual in his field. Chris, what is a mutual fund?
Thank you. Broadly, a mutual fund is a collective investment scheme which pools investor funds. The fund can be structured as a company, a segregated portfolio company, an LLC, a partnership, or a unit trust. Mutual funds will issue equity interest to investors with the aim of spreading risk and enabling the investors to receive gains from the investments. Equity interests include shares, unit trusts, and partnership interest, but it also includes other representations of interests, and this includes some digital assets. But critically, the equity interests should be able to be redeemed at the option of the investor. Under Cayman Islands law, that's what makes it an open-ended fund and subject to the Mutual Funds Act. I think it would also be helpful to describe what is not a mutual fund. The Mutual Funds Act applies to all open-ended funds, which in the Cayman Islands are funds which the investors have a right to redeem their interest at their option. If there's no right to redeem their interest, then the Mutual Funds Act doesn't apply, and instead we would look at the Private Funds Act to see if that applied instead. Further, a fund with a single investor has no commingling of assets and isn't subject to the registration under the Mutual Funds Act. Lastly, equity interests do not include debt, so a fund which issues debt is not subject to registration under the Mutual Funds Act.
How many types of funds are there?
Currently, there are 6 types of mutual funds and 2 types of private funds that are subject to regulation and supervision in the Cayman Islands. In this discussion, we'll talk about registered mutual funds. These are the most prolific of the mutual funds in the Cayman Islands. They have a streamlined registration process and are available where the investor's initial investment exceeds $100,000 or in the case where the equity interest listed on an approved stock exchange such as the Cayman Islands Stock Exchange. Registration of these funds requires filing an appropriate form with the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority together with a copy of the current offering document, consent letters from the auditors and the administrators, and the payment of a registration fee to the authority.
Thank you, Chris. For mutual funds, what are the registration requirements?
All regulated mutual funds are required to submit to the authority a copy of the current offering documents. The offering documents must describe the equity interests offered to investors in all material respects and must contain all the information as is necessary to enable the prospective investor to make an informed decision as to whether or not to purchase the equity interests. Finally, in addition to paying the prescribed annual registration fee, all funds are required to file annual audits within 6 months of the financial year end. This will involve appointing a local Cayman Islands audit firm.
That brings us to the end of this presentation. For more information, listen to our other videos and podcasts in the series or visit us online at stewartslaw.com.